Let me show you. This is Instagram story. It's an Instagram story. She said, quote, cheating had me around your whole family playing house, got cold feet, holding you down through all your horrible mood swings and treatment towards me during your basketball season. Now you don't know if you can be monogamous? Question marks. Bitch, I need...
Y'all, this didn't just blow up, this detonated in real time. Because what started as a simple breakup suddenly turned into a full-scale public takedown, and insiders are saying this was never supposed to get this messy. One post, one word, cheating. And just like that, the internet flipped. It looks like Megan didn't just walk away, she exposed everything. Mood swings, loyalty issues, monogamy doubts. And within minutes, fans weren't just watching, they were picking sides. But here's where it gets dangerous. Right when the narrative was locking in, right when everyone had already crowned a villain, Stephen A. Smith stepped in and completely shattered the storyline. Not defending, not attacking, but questioning everything. Why make this public? Is it really that simple? And suddenly, the room went quiet. Because now, it's not just about cheating anymore. It looks like there's more behind the scenes, things nobody's saying out loud. And while the internet is screaming, while narratives are being built in real time, Klay Thompson? Silent. No denial. No apology. No explanation. Just silence. And insiders are starting to ask, is that confidence or something else? Because what's coming next might flip this entire story again.
I'm having this episode on YouTube because I'm asking, why is she telling his business? See, that's where I want the ladies to listen. I'm sick and tired of what's going on in this world. I'm not saying whatever she felt was wrong. I don't know what happened in their relationship. Don't want to know. Ain't none of my damn business. Ain't none of y'all's either. But Megan Thee Stallion.
And just when it looked like the narrative had already chosen its hero and villain, things started shifting again. Because insiders are now saying that what Megan posted wasn't just emotion, it was strategy under pressure. The timeline doesn't sit clean. The wording, too sharp. The timing, too perfect. It looks like this wasn't just a reaction, it was a controlled release. One IG story turns into multiple talking points. Fans begin decoding every word. Cheating becomes the headline, mood swings becomes the pattern. And suddenly, Klay isn't just accused, he's framed inside a storyline that's already moving faster than facts. But here's where it escalates. Because while the internet is locking in its judgment, some voices start pushing back, quietly at first. Not denying the breakup, not defending the behavior, but questioning the presentation. Was this exposure or execution? And right in the middle of that shift, the first critical layer drops.
Bye, y'all. Then she comes out with a statement on page 6. I've made the decision. She's far more composed now. No derogatory names or anything like that. She's far more composed now. This is a statement to page 6. Quote, I've made the decision to end my relationship with Klay. Trust, fidelity, and respect are non-negotiable for me in a relationship. And when those values are compromised, there's no real path forward. I'm taking this time to prioritize.
That moment doesn't scream, it plants doubt. Because now the conversation isn't just what happened, it's how much are we being shown, and what's being held back? And the more people replay that segment, the more one thing becomes clear. This story might be edited in real time. Now the energy changes. Comment sections split, support turns into debate, and a new angle starts forming. What if this isn't one-sided? Because insiders say, behind closed doors, this relationship was already unstable long before the post. Unspoken tension, personality clashes, control issues. Nothing confirmed, but enough whispers to slow the narrative down. And that's dangerous. Because once the audience starts questioning, control starts slipping. Now watch the pattern. Megan gains support fast, followers spike, sympathy builds. But at the same time, a second wave starts rising. Why no? Why public? Why like this? And just as that second wave begins to grow, another piece drops, shorter, sharper, and harder to ignore.
Was not Megan Thee Stallion. Boy, I love that name for her. I really do. But I digress. My point is, it was not her shining moment. I did not.
It's quick, but it hits. Because it doesn't explain, it redirects. And now the audience is no longer just reacting emotionally, they're analyzing. That's when the tone of the entire situation shifts. This is no longer just a breakup story. This is now a public narrative battle. And both sides, whether intentional or not, are playing roles. But here's the most unsettling part. Klay is still silent. No response. No clarification. No visible damage control. And insiders say that silence is not accidental. Because in situations like this, silence can either mean you have nothing to say, or you're waiting for the narrative to collapse on its own. And the longer he stays quiet, the more unpredictable this becomes. Because now, the internet is doing what it always does. Filling in the blanks. Some are building him up as careless. Others are starting to question if he's being misrepresented. And right there, that gap, that's where the real story starts forming. Not in posts, not in captions, but in perception. Because perception moves faster than truth. And right now, perception is unstable. One moment, Megan is the clear victim. Next moment, people are asking if the story is incomplete. And once that doubt enters the system, it doesn't leave. It spreads. Quietly, steadily, dangerously. Now the pressure isn't just on Klay anymore. It's on the entire narrative. Because if even one detail shifts, if even one hidden layer comes out, this whole story could flip again. And insiders are already hinting. There's more. Not confirmed, not proven, but enough to suggest. This situation hasn't fully surfaced yet, because what we're seeing right now might just be the clean version. And if that's true, then what's coming next won't just change opinions. It could completely rewrite who the victim really is. And just when the narrative started cracking, it didn't slow down, it mutated. Because now, insiders are saying this isn't just about what Megan posted, it's about what happened after the post. The reaction phase. The part nobody controls. Because once the internet picks a side, it doesn't just observe, it amplifies. Clips start circulating, old moments get reinterpreted, body language gets analyzed frame by frame. And suddenly, this isn't a breakup anymore. It looks like a character trial happening in real time. Megan's words, they don't just sit, they expand. Cheating becomes assumption, behavior becomes pattern, doubt becomes narrative. And now Klay isn't just being accused, he's being decoded by millions. But here's where it shifts again. Because behind the noise, a different type of conversation starts forming. Quieter, more calculated. People aren't just reacting anymore, they're connecting dots. And insiders say, some of those dots don't align cleanly. Timing gaps, energy shifts, moments that feel slightly off. Nothing confirmed, but enough to make the situation feel less simple. And that's when another layer drops, deeper, more analytical, harder to ignore.
How come you couldn't just break up and go on your merry way? How come you couldn't just say, we had our time together, but I'm back being single again. Klay Thompson and I are no longer together, and leave it at that. Why we got to dog the brother out? Why?
That segment doesn't explode, it reframes. Because now the focus isn't just on what was said, it's on how narratives are built and consumed. And once that door opens, everything becomes questionable. Was this emotional truth or strategic exposure? Was this pain or positioning? Now the audience splits again. One side still fully backing Megan, seeing strength, honesty, accountability. The other side, starting to hesitate. Not defending Klay, but questioning the method. Because insiders say, when private issues go public this fast, it's rarely just about closure. It's about control. And control is already slipping. Now watch how fast things escalate. Clips get clipped again. Opinions get louder. Influencers jump in. Some push the love bombing angle. Others suggest emotional imbalance. And suddenly, the conversation becomes psychological. No longer just who cheated. Now it's what was really happening inside that relationship. And right there, the story gets heavier. Because now, both sides are under a microscope. And just when it feels like the tension has peaked, another moment surfaces, short, sharp, but loaded.
Klay said it was you? What if Klay said that you was out there getting your freak on? He didn't do nothing, you did. Is it really beyond the pale? Is that how we gonna act, ladies and gentlemen? Are we gonna live?
It hits differently. Because it doesn't add noise, it adds weight. Now people aren't just reacting emotionally. They're starting to reevaluate everything. Even Megan's supporters begin asking, was this the only way? Was everything shared? Or just the parts that matter publicly? And that's where things become unpredictable. Because once doubt enters support, loyalty starts weakening. Now shift focus. Klay still silent. No statements. No defense. No visible reaction. And insiders are now calling that silence intentional positioning. Because in high-profile situations like this, sometimes saying nothing creates more impact than saying everything. And the longer he stays quiet, the more pressure builds on the narrative itself. Because now the story has no opposition. No counter. No alternative version. Just one side, echoing louder and louder. And that creates a dangerous imbalance. Because when only one narrative dominates, it eventually overextends. And when it overextends, it leaves cracks. Now those cracks are starting to show. Small questions, subtle inconsistencies, moments that don't fully connect. Nothing explosive yet, but enough to signal that this story might not be fully told. And insiders are hinting. There's a second layer. Not public, not confirmed, but present. And if that layer surfaces, this entire situation could shift again fast. Because right now, everything is built on perception. And perception? It changes the moment new information enters. So now the real question isn't, who is right? It's, what haven't we seen yet? Because if even one missing piece drops, this narrative doesn't just adjust. It flips completely. And the people watching this unfold in real time might not be ready for what that flip actually reveals. And just when it felt like the narrative had stretched as far as it could go, it didn't break, it evolved into something heavier. Because now, insiders aren't just questioning the story. They're questioning the intent behind the story. The tone has changed. This is no longer reaction. This is interpretation at scale. Every move, every silence, every post is now being treated like evidence. And what's dangerous is the audience isn't waiting anymore. They're deciding in real time. Because it looks like something deeper is forming beneath the surface. Not louder, but sharper. Now people aren't just asking what happened between Meghan and Klay. They're asking, who controlled the narrative first? Because whoever controls the first version usually controls the perception. And perception is already fractured. Some still see Meghan as the voice that exposed everything. Others are now starting to feel like this might have been a preemptive strike. Not proven, not confirmed, but the timing keeps raising questions. And right when that tension peaks, another layer drops, calm, controlled, but calculated.
Be that you got comfortable. Could it be that complacency kicked in? Monotony and normalcy kicked in? And the things that he was doing to step his game up because he got to, because y'all don't tolerate that. You're ladies. This is Stephen A. you talking to, baby. We gonna keep it a buck.
That moment doesn't create chaos, it sharpens suspicion. Because now, the conversation moves away from emotion and into pattern recognition. People start revisiting everything. Old clips, old energy, old interactions. And suddenly, the relationship doesn't look like it started breaking at the end. It looks like it may have been unstable for a while. That realization changes everything. Because if cracks existed earlier, then this explosion wasn't random. It was inevitable. Now the audience shifts again. Less sympathy, more analysis. Less reaction, more reconstruction. And insiders say, this is the phase where stories become dangerous. Because now, the internet isn't just consuming the narrative. It's rewriting it. Frame by frame. Theory by theory. And once that happens, the original truth starts getting buried under interpretation. Now focus on the silence again. Klay still hasn't said a word. And at this point, that silence is no longer neutral. It's being interpreted from both sides. Some see strength, others see avoidance. But insiders suggest something else. Strategic patience. Because when a narrative is moving this fast, sometimes the smartest move is to let it overextend and collapse on its own. And signs of that collapse? They're starting to appear. Small contradictions, energy mismatches, moments that don't fully connect anymore. Nothing explosive yet, but enough to suggest the story might be losing its original shape. And then, just when the noise starts settling into confusion, a late-stage clip resurfaces. Longer, heavier, harder to ignore.
Because real dudes out there, real men that got shit going on, that's living life well, successful, ambitious, hungry, the last thing we want is a woman in our life who will tell our business the second stuff goes wrong. It's automatic cancellation. Even when we don't tell you, you done.
This one doesn't hit instantly. It lingers. Because instead of pushing one side, it forces the audience to confront the possibility that both sides might be incomplete. And that's the most dangerous position for any viral narrative. Because once the audience stops seeing clear heroes and villains, engagement doesn't drop, it intensifies. Now everyone's trying to figure it out. Debates get sharper, opinions get riskier, lines get blurred. And the story? It becomes something else entirely. Not a breakup, not a scandal, but a live psychological unraveling happening in public. And here's the part nobody expected. The longer this goes on, the less clear everything becomes. Because what started as a strong, emotional statement is now surrounded by questions that don't have clean answers. Was it truth? Was it timing? Was it control? Or was it all three, mixed together? And insiders are quietly hinting. There's still something missing. Something that hasn't surfaced yet. Because stories like this, They rarely end at the peak. They end when one final detail changes everything. And right now, it feels like that detail is still out there. And just like that, what looked like a clear story turns into something far more unstable. Because insiders are now saying, this isn't over, not even close. The narrative hasn't settled, it's floating. Every day, a new angle, every hour, a new interpretation. And what's dangerous is people aren't waiting for facts anymore. They're choosing sides based on fragments. Because it looks like the truth is no longer leading the story, the narrative is. Megan still holds the emotional ground, Klay still holds the silence. And somewhere in between, the full story is still missing. Now think about that. If everything was already clear, why are questions still growing? If the truth was complete, why does every new clip feel like it changes something? That's the part insiders can't ignore. Because when a story keeps evolving like this, it usually means one thing. We haven't seen everything yet. And when that final piece drops, it doesn't just clarify. It redefines everything. So now the real question isn't who is right or who is wrong. It's this. Who controlled what you saw first? Because in situations like this, first impressions don't just matter. They decide everything. And if that first version was incomplete, then everything built on top of it could collapse. Fast. So now it's on you. Was this a real exposure or a perfectly timed narrative play? Is silence a sign of guilt or the smartest move in the room? And most importantly, if the story flips tomorrow, will you still believe what you believe today? Comment below. Pick a side. Or don't. Because this isn't just a breakup anymore. It's a narrative war. And the final version of the truth still hasn't been released.